Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries with Agency Rainmaker TV. This is the show where we help you make it rain, where you help bring right fit clients into your agency. And we have an expert today on presentations, Ed Tate. Ed, it's so great that you're here today.
Thank you, Henry, for having me on your show.
Well, we're going to get right to it. Ed, who do you serve?
I serve corporations, agency owners, and entrepreneurs. I help them win high stakes presentations.
And you're a world champion of public speaking. You've been in the business world for years, helping many people improve their presentation skills and bring in the business. So I'm so glad that you're here today. What do you teach people? What do you share with them?
Well, I teach again how to rejection proof your presentation. And one of the key components that we teach is monetizing the problem. So later on today, Henry, literally after this call, I'm going to be meeting with a potential client. They are in the automotive industry. And we're going to be doing train the trainer, but I'm also going to teach them how to win uh, conversions, if you will, when they have students. For example, they have 13 events per year, and at each event they have anywhere from seven to a dozen different classes. So one of the things I teach them is to monetize the problem. And I'm going to be doing that myself when I'm proposing my proposal to them today. So I've discovered that in one class, if they get one more conversion, and that conversion is worth $16,800. Let's call it 16,000 just to be safe. Today, their conversion rate is 1 to 2. So they have an average class of 150 people, and they convert 1 to 2 people, which is 1.33%. I had a conversation with them. I said, hey, what if we were able to double that? What if we were able to get that up to 4 people just for this one class? Well, that's, one class is 32,000. And let's say, for example, they have 13 events, but let's say we could only do it for 10 events. We're only able to make that conversion rate up to 4 for 10 events. So that's $332,000 per year if we're able to help them. So the one thing that you have to be able to do in order to pitch to win is find out what's that conversion number? What's the cost of a customer or a client? Now, the conversation I'm going to have with this client later on today is just like, hey, that's just one class, 2 people over 10 classes in 1 year's time. In a previous conversation, you told me that these clients stay with you for 8 years. So if I did the math right, that's over $2 million if we're able just to get 2 more people in one class. Let's be even more conservative than that. Let's say, for example, it's only one. Well, over an 8-year period, they're going to make over $1 million. So it is absolutely essential that you monetize the problem. You've got to be able to monetize a problem. Let's go with a simpler example. Late last year, I was contacted by another client. They're in the dental industry. And they needed what we called an emergency keynote. That is something that had taken place. Their keynote speaker wasn't available for them. And the only thing we could work out is me presenting to them virtually. So we figured out the details. I'm going to do it. And then they say, well, Ed, we usually only pay virtual presenters only $1,500. And I said, Vicky, let's crunch the numbers. Vicky, based on what you've told me before, last year you lost 7 clients. Is that correct? She said, yes. And those clients are worth about $200,000 a piece. And she said, yes. So we're looking at 1.4 to 1.7 million. Let's just call it $1.5 million, Vicky. Okay. Will you pay me 1% to help that stop happening in the future? Now, here's what was happening. Number one, we were having the wrong conversation. The wrong conversation was not, shit, is this virtual or is this live? Does my value go down just because I'm virtual? No, my information is the same. So we're having the wrong conversation. And the other part of the wrong conversation was that as opposed to talking about the cost of a virtual presentation, $1,500, I want to talk about the return on investment. That's the conversation you need to be having. Just like the automotive industry I'm going to be having a conversation with today, I'm talking ROI. I'm talking return. What is going to be my value to the organization to help them either stop losing sales or start making sales? So these are the conversations that you must have. But in both of these situations, I monetize the problem. And by the way, she said, send me an invoice.
That's great. Um, Now, how do you make it rain? How do you bring in clients for your consulting, Ed?
Several different ways. Number one is me speaking on stage. It is the fastest way for me to get new customers and clients. Invariably, people will walk up to me and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about speaking to our organization. Sometimes I'm allowed to actually pitch from the stage. And if I'm allowed to pitch from the stage, I love those opportunities because I'm very, very good at what I do. And I have certain ways of being successful in that particular space. I also have a secret weapon called the CSP approach. I'm something called the Certified Speaking Professional. It's the highest earned designation by the National Speakers Association. And every 5 years, I have to re-earn that designation. So it's not something you just earn, you're one and done. You have to maintain that status. Well, here's something I discovered after my first 5 years. I actually have to reach out and get at least 20 referrals or recommendations from existing customers and clients. And I would reach out to my existing client base, and here's what would happen. I would make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I wasn't deliberately trying to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was just reaching out to my existing client base. And here's what happened. They would say, oh, Ed, wow, we had such a great time with your speech and your presentation. By the way, how much do you charge now? We've got something which is coming up. So I call this a CSP approach, a CSP renewal approach. But your people can use this as well. Reach out to your existing customers and clients. Remind them of the value that you've provided for them, or tell them about the new value that you have coming up. I'm just having conversations with existing customers and existing clients. Now, here's the thing. I no longer wait 5 years to implement this strategy. I use this strategy on a regular basis. I say, hey, my CSP certification is coming up. I'm not lying to people. It is coming up. It'll come up in about 4 years. But I have such a large database of customers and clients and even prospects and suspects that I have this conversation with them on a regular basis. So this one technique works very, very well in terms of me making it rain, and your clients can use it well. Contact your existing customers and clients. Remind them of the value that you provided and let them know about the new value that you have coming up.
Ed, we look forward to publishing your book, Winning High Stakes Presentations. That'll be out in 2024. And also, we look forward to you being a keynote speaker at our Agency Rainmaker Forum, September 27 to 28 in La Jolla, California. And it'll be so great to have you there. Ed, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me on your show. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, we're out of time for today. So until next time, make it rain.